listening to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three relatively grown men binge the iconic HBO series Sex and the City. So dust off those DVDs and grab yourself a white wine or even a Cosmopolitan and settle in. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three guys are watching and just like that. And just like that, I'm Cory Cavin.
I'm Kevin James Doyle.
My name is Jon Sieber. How we doing? We had a lot of tech issues tonight.
A lot of tech issues tonight.
I can barely see Kevin.
Can barely see Kevin. Can you hear me okay, John?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect.
Kevin,
can you hear us?
The only difference between my setup the last time we recorded and currently is that I had COVID. And so I don't know if when
that has to be it.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
This is one thing that jumps out to me is that, you know, if we're all coming clean about COVID, I had pre-Omicron COVID months ago, but I remember one time we were recording.
Delta. Was it Delta COVID?
I think it was Delta. And but I remember we were recording and I started to say it, and Kevin just looked over at me and took his mic away and just shook his head and just goes, "Don't say anything." And now, literally a day and a half after you found out, you were like, "Welcome to the Bradshaw Boys. I had COVID."
I had COVID.
Oh, that's so funny.
I know.
I was with my mother, and she tested positive the day I left.
Right.
And Katie and I took two tests, and they both came up negative. So I don't know. I'm still a gold star.
Yeah, I was around Kevo and some other people who.
Yeah, weren't you at my house recording, Kevin, when you had COVID?
Probably.
Wait, when would that have been? That was the last time we recorded?
Yeah.
Wow.
You got a test and you didn't get the results back for like 2.5 weeks, right?
Right.
Yeah, I got a PCR test. I did an at-home test, and then.
By the way, an at-home test is basically the same thing as doing Fun Dip. Like those things don't work at all. I know people who are going to disagree and be like, "I did one. It told me I had it, and I had it." And I'm not saying they don't ever work, but I also know people who did like 2 at-home tests, got negative, and then got a PCR that was positive.
Dude,
what brand of at-home test are you talking about? Because I'm just talking about flipping a coin, a quarter, and then if it lands on heads, you have COVID. That's my at-home test.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Corey went with the Big League Chew brand.
Yeah. Here's the thing: if you're going to do an at-home test, you got to go Haribo. Okay, it's always the best.
Yeah, I did a PCR test because my family was coming in town, and it gave me the results 10 days later. So I found out. Which also we just established. You said, John, you were recording in his house. You were also in my apartment while you had COVID, and your entire family was as well because you guys stayed in my apartment. Yeah, both my parents are dead, by the way. So don't if everyone's like, "Oh, this is sad." We have to record this now. I have to go bury my parents because I gave them Omicron. Okay?
That's why we're recording remotely right now because Kevin is going to a graveyard after this to bury his family.
Dude, just leave it to
I'm
Kevin.
at a funeral
COVID
in like
goes
a bag. I'm like, we really are late on this episode already. So
I got to deliver a eulogy in about 5 minutes. So let's knock out the first half of the episode.
My father was a good man, and my mother said he had a penis the size of a battleship. Our listeners know.
Dude,
unfortunately, Omicron sunk his battleship.
I hope that if in the very unfortunate reality that you would have to do that, all I would hope is that Che Diaz would smoke out your nephew afterward at the Che Diaz would just light up an entire 5-foot gravity bong and try to get one of your siblings high or something like that.
Just be like well, what's the problem?
What's the problem?
What, both your parents are dead? You're in mourning?
I smoke it
I'm just trying to
every funeral.
Hey, it's just weed. It's legal. Okay, I'm Che Diaz. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming to the show. Check the box. Get high.
Che calls Miranda Rambo, right?
Yeah. Or did Miranda call herself
did
Rambo?
Miranda call herself Rambo.
That's what I.
Well, she called
I
her
just
Rambo
hope
because when she came up aggressive about
the weed.
Oh yeah,
right?
because Miranda's like, I'm Rambo. I don't know.
Yeah, she keeps referring to herself as Rambo because Rambo came out when they had that when she was like, I'm a mama bear, and Che said you're kind of a papa bear. So yeah, that's where the Mirambo thing comes from more.
How was everyone's holiday season? New Year's? It's been a while since we've been together.
It has been a while. Well, I mean, we just talked about part of how things went. It's just it was all over the place. But
yeah, there's that meme of people trying to avoid COVID, like that custom Mario Brothers level with the lava spikes just flying everywhere. It's crazy in New York right now.
It is crazy in New York right now. I was talking to Katie about this. The voice of our podcast and also your life partner and lovely wife.
Yeah.
But
Mother of my child.
Mother of your child. Partner in crime not getting COVID. But I mean, it's crazy in New York, but it also came out of nowhere. Like don't you feel like it was within about a 2-day span? Like
yeah.
Whenever you must have picked it up, Kevin, like I was probably with you, and I also feel like we were hanging out one day and everything was fine, and literally the next day it was like 15 people have COVID.
Kevin's responsible for it.
I'm a super spreader.
You're at that funeral right now giving everyone COVID.
If you go to a place called Lab Work, LABWORQ, just know that whatever disease you have, you'll find out before it's too late.
This podcast sponsored by Lab Work. Come in today, find out in 2 weeks.
It was funny watching in just like that episode where they're like, remember it was like that during the pandemic. It was like, fuck you bitches. Fucking, it's still happening.
I do want to know what I know.
Yeah. It's not. It's just funny to be like, oh, it's funny that they fast forwarded past the reality we're living in right now.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I want to know what year and just like that takes place in. Is if it's 2022, they're in a definite different reality. Like the pandemic. Like no one's wearing masks anymore. You're what?
Yeah, I thought it felt like 20 because don't they do like a handshake joke or don't they do like a sanitizer at the table joke, or am I making that up?
No, they do. They do a sanitizer joke.
So it has to be recent, right?
Well, I think what it is that just the past 2 weeks have been like pretty high stress in New York, and I don't think anyone anticipated that again. So it's just funny watching the episode and being like, man, when they were writing this, like, oh yeah, there's like this will be done by that point, and then there's just a quick little juke step to the side, and COVID made a little like zombie movie thing at the end where they're like, bah!
Yeah,
you know.
Hopefully this is the end. But yeah, there was like empty testing sites all around the city, and then I wanted to get a test, and I went, and it was like 3-hour wait, 4-hour wait, just all of a sudden shot up.
I mean, we did our live show December 6th, and there was no discussion of canceling it or postponing
not
it.
at
That's
all.
true.
And it was packed. We were actually
You
taken
could not
aback
fit
because
another person.
I'll tell you what, the way that people attend comedy shows is the most stressful thing as a comedian, because everyone just thinks it's fine to be 5 minutes late. Meanwhile, 8:02, every comedian is backstage just being like, I'm going to fucking quit. There's 2 people out there. And then you're like,
I know.
Hey, where'd everyone come from 8:02 to 8:05?
I know.
Compound that with the person who's running the venue, and they're like, if you're not out by exactly 9 o'clock on the dot, we will pull the microphone out of your hands.
Yeah. Which, by the way, everyone, thanks for, I don't know, we probably already thanked people for coming out, but thank you for coming out, because that ended up being, tons of shows ended up getting canceled in December. Broadway shows, comedy shows. I told someone I might have a show in January, and they're like, no, you're not. And I was like, okay.
Totally. Our live show, by the way, the video and audio is up on our Patreon account. If you want to watch the live show, it's on our Patreon. The video's up now. Wouldn't it be crazy if we put up the video with no audio? It was just like a silent film.
That'd be so sick.
That'd be great.
And we speed it up so that we're like moving quicker.
Well, the Bradshaw boys are very avant-garde.
what was the British comedy that the Benny Lee or whatever?
Benny
Hill.
Benny Hill.
Benny Hill.
Our guests for the live show, Benny Hill and Buster Keaton. Welcome to the Bradshaw Boys with other comedians that start with the letter B. Okay,
Bill Cosby.
Oh man. Okay,
I can't
so
see Kevin, but you know when you just know you're gonna get Kevin with a joke. It's,
You got-
it's can't see
Oh,
him, but I'm glad I
sweet.
got the laugh.
Oh man,
What?
guess what? We have a negative review. Our most recent review negative. My
Ooh.
Rusty Nail. This is our first not good one in a while. Let's hear it.
Okay, let's
How many
read it.
stars?
I
How
really
many
enjoy
Cosmos?
hearing the boys' takes on the new episodes and just like that. 2 cons. There's a bit of banter that just feels like fodder. Well, guess what? This
Yeah,
this
it's
podcast is
2-star
90%
tangent.
fodder.
Yeah.
But when they get into the meat, I enjoy it. The eps could be 20 minutes shorter if they cut the unrelated content. Okay, well, that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Second, if you can overlook the fact that Cory says like approximately 750 times per episode, you might be able to rate it higher. I just find myself getting distracted by listening for this like count. Wow. I just opened up the reviews to see what was there, and I wasn't expecting to have such a hot take coming from My Rusty Nail.
Man,
I
that
appreciate
that is like very critical.
Also, you don't know the difference between Cory and Kevin because for years people have been saying that we have the same voice. So maybe it's just that there's 2 people combined
That's what
saying
it
a
is.
normal amount of likes.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Well, we just
true.
got off track because my point was going to say we're at 496 5-star ratings, but now so go and rate and review. Listen, give us critiques, but give us 5, or just don't listen. I don't care. We don't make any fucking money from this dumb thing anyway. I'm quitting. Fuck you guys. I'm out.
Oh my gosh! You know what's positive though is that those are all real reviews now. Half the reviews when we started this podcast were just you going to the Apple Store, but now because of COVID, you have to make an appointment to get in the Apple Store. So these are real people
Way
reviewing.
more than half. I'd be willing to say at least 412 are Kevin at the Apple Store.
Yeah, that's true. But now,
Or when
now
you
they're
hang out
real
with
reviews.
friends and you just grab their iPhone and you go and just you rate it.
I'd be willing to bet a significant amount that I'm My Rusty Nail, and that was my passive-aggressive way to get Cory to stop saying like so much.
It's probably true.
and to cut and then to make it seem more realistic, I just put in the banter thing and then brought sidetracked banter to this episode
Exactly.
to get it under.
Dude,
It's either that or
is
it's your way of being like, I want these recording sessions to be shorter so I can get back to my life. I don't want to do all this stupid fodder now.
Well,
Well, let's speaking of which, let's get to the episode. See, it's only been 12 minutes and 52 seconds. That's not horrible.
Not bad.
yeah, I feel bad
Rusty
now. I
Nail.
feel like we're gonna get another bad fodder rating after
That's
these
fine.
12 minutes.
I will tell you this: I will live at least the next week of my life counting
Thinking
how many
about
times I say
likes.
like. Oh,
You
absolutely.
don't say likes a lot.
One time I lived with one of my roommates after college. He commented on how I end a lot of sentences with "so," like if I just said like. If you're like, well, I just said like again. See, it's gonna happen. I'm ruined for a while. So hey, that Rusty Nail, great review. You ruined my life. Way to go.
Listen, if
hey, here's the thing. Hey, Rusty Nail, subscribe. Don't like and subscribe because it makes me have to say like again. So rate and subscribe. You already rated and you ruined my life. Thank you.
Listen,
No, Kevin's
here's the
funny.
deal. If anybody
I watched
goes
the
and gives us
pain.
a review that is not 5 stars, you're starting 2022 as a fucking negative piece of shit. Okay? That's the way it goes. Get a life if you don't give us more than or just say all bad shit and give us 5 stars. We'll read them. You know?
Yeah. It's when you go to a roast, they say really mean things about the people, but they show up and they pay the full fare. They give them 5 stars. So if you're going to roast us, pay the full fare, okay?
Also,
Let's do
Metro.uk said we're one of the top 5 podcasts about Sex in the City to listen to.
That's true. And Metro.uk is not a username. It's a newspaper in the UK. All right? So they put us on the list. They put us on the list with the Sex and the City Writers Podcast. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
You know
So-
that you can tell that someone's not insecure when they have to scream their achievements at you. Okay.
That argument is called an appeal to authority.
All right, are we gonna watch this thing?
Yeah, let's go watch
watch
it.
the episode. Katie's going to give us a recap, and we will be back. Episode 5, Tragically Hip.
Tragically
hip.
Like,
All right,
let's watch it.
let's watch it. Hey, Katie, start talking.
Like, whatever.
Episode 5 Tragically Hip. As Carrie recuperates from hip surgery, Charlotte learns surprising news about her daughter. And Che's words help Miranda face some truths about her life. And now, back to the boys.
Kevin. Sexual Kevin. Why is your name Sexual Kevin on here?
I just thought it'd be funny to put. It's not really.
You know that
My username
I
is
love
Sexual
it.
Kevin.
was that ever
I
like
love
an
it.
AIM screen name or anything like that?
No, I should. It is now.
Have we
Whenever
talked
I
about
use
name
AIM.
screen names?
I don't know if we did talk about AIM screen names.
I feel like Kevin's got a good one. He's shaking his head.
Mine
Oh,
was.
yeah.
I bet lots. I bet there were so many screen names that were Carrie Bradshaw.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Bradshaw.
Yeah.
What's the shoes? Manolo. I bet there were just so
Mhm.
many.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm. Magnolia Lover 64.
Magnolia Lover.
We need to get.
Um,
Should we start a GoFundMe to get Steve fingering lessons?
Yes, we should.
Steve Brady fingering lessons.
But we're only going to raise enough money to send him to that woman that does tantric sex in the first series, and so
Yes.
instead of doing fingering lessons, he has just learned how to press on another man's grundle and make that man ejaculate. He
Yeah.
can't
How
actually.
much
give
money do you
fingering
think
lessons.
we could realistically raise to get the fictitious character Steve Brady lessons on how to finger bang?
What if we
I
do
mean-
that and we give the money to charity? Let's just see how much we can get. But it's like you're giving money to charity, but this is the auspices you're doing it under.
I'm starting it right now.
Start it.
The second half of this podcast just became us watching Kevin start the GoFundMe for
Exactly.
No,
Steve Brady.
I'll do it once we're done with the ep, and we'll post it. We'll see if we can raise money. We're gonna get kicked off very quickly because I think they're pretty. But we'll just post it. It'll be funny. People will laugh at it.
I wanted to start a GoFundMe to buy Che a vape pen. So it's like we could buy Che a vape pen.
Or we
could
should
get-
just start a different GoFundMe every single
every
week.
week. Every
It's
week we
really
pick something from the episode and start a GoFundMe.
Jay Diaz is a successful but horrible stand-up comedian who does not know boundaries with smoking.
No.
I went. I
This
went
is
to
another episode where it's just where you need to fucking stop.
It doesn't. It makes no sense. I will say this though, Che. I mean, John, you're going to get to the episode in a sec, but Che lighting a joint in someone's apartment, very inconsiderate, but probably the most realistic weed smoking we've seen
Yeah.
Che do. Still
Yeah.
very inconsiderate. If someone was in my
Yeah.
apartment and didn't ask, you know, to
Well, you're
if they-
recovering from hip surgery?
Yeah, while I'm
Passed out on your bed?
OxyContin, passed out in my room, and
Drinking the tequila that they brought you for a gift?
Yeah, exactly. That was Carrie's tequila.
Jay is tacky.
I like the fact that Che is becoming a heel. Like Che,
Oh, yeah.
Che is a
Yeah.
WWE heel now. I'm so excited
It's
about
true.
it.
It's true, and we kind of called that. Listen, the other half of our bingo card is starting to come to fruition because
Oh,
there was
it's
in
so
this there was a
funny.
Zoom call, there was a few other things I marked, but also early in the episode we talked about how Che Diaz is not a good, well-written character unless turns into a more villainous type character, which I think is already happening before our very eyes.
Is there going to be a showdown between Che and Steve?
Gosh, I hope so.
100%.
Is it?
Yeah,
What
there's gotta be.
if the next episode Che sinks a half court shot in Madison Square Garden?
Oh God.
And it's just Che literally
kills
takes
himself.
every single thing away from Steve.
And Steve is just my friend Mr. Big died. I can't hear anymore. Che Diaz
I lost
fingered my wife and then did the only thing I ever wanted to do, which was drain a half-quart shot. And he just sticks his toe in the shotgun and just blows his brains out.
It's just Steve holding onto the chain link fence at West 4th watching Che play handball.
Dude, you know Che Diaz would crush some handball.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Oh, man.
Oh, all right, John, read
What
us
happened?
the summary.
Oh, geez, I need to pull up my notes. Hold on.
This episode, a lot happened.
Can you guys hear those Slack notifications? I need to.
We can't hear your Slack.
Okay.
No.
Slack. Okay. Episode starts out. Carrie has a sore back, so Carrie and Seema go see Vakash, Seema's cousin, and Carrie finds out that she has a degenerative hip issue. It was. Do you recall what it was?
Right?
It doesn't matter. Birth defect.
Yeah.
She decides to get surgery, and we have a little chat and chew. First ever chat and chew with solo Anthony, and Anthony actually brings it up. That he's there by himself trying to make a presence. The next scene, Charlotte finds out that her daughter Rose is now going by the name Rock. Miranda is in her apartment, and she discovers that someone has sent her a book on quitting drinking. She thinks it's Charlotte. Carrie then goes and gets surgery, and we have a great moment where Charlotte has to help her go pee, and Chase. There's just some hijinks in the hospital. Miranda, I believe in this point, I wrote down she messes up they. I think Miranda either calls Rose she and gets corrected by Charlotte that it's that Rock prefers they. I just wrote down Shay's awesome laser lines. Not sure. I love laser lines.
Charlotte's just like our Instagram followers.
What's that?
They corrected us when we messed up Che's pronouns.
That's right.
Exactly.
Hey,
Miranda, watch how many times you say like
it.
Miranda.
Great scene. Great hot guy bread scene where we have like Nick or Brent or something carrying Charlotte. That guy is a monster.
Awesome.
That guy is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love him. I'd love to see him at West Forest courts. She on X, Y, and Me, which I think is the first time we heard the podcast that Che hosts. Carrie goes full.
I think we heard it in the original episode.
Okay.
Sorry, not to be a reviewer and correct you on your own.
Carrie
podcast.
goes full Kevin Doyle and overshares the story about taking the diaphragm out with Samantha, and they discover whether or not to call Samantha, and then Shay comes over, and we have the infamous, the most important scene of the episode. They get drunk, smoke a little weed, and then have sex in Carrie's bedroom as she is pissing the bed. We need to talk about how Miranda's acting is just... Cynthia Nixon just brings the thunder so hard in this episode. And she admits that, she's unhappy. She has a problem. Miranda then dumps out all of her booze, realizes that she orders the book, and Charlotte decides she's just going to listen to Rock. And I think I covered it.
I think you
I think
did.
that was everything.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? I feel like we should save the Miranda Carrie. Oh, I want to bring up one other thing. Carrie is texting Samantha, and they go back and forth. And I think the use of the dots that appear then disappear, was
amazing.
really well done. We've all experienced the dots.
Yeah. I think that was another...
I got giddy during that scene.
Yeah. No, it was great writing, and I think it was another clue that Samantha will be in the series. I think Kim Cattrall is going to show up at some point because...
But it's interesting because like that text conversation got me really excited about the possibility of Samantha coming back. But
yeah,
Samantha is currently not Kim Cattrall. So I don't know. That was just in the back of my head. It's like I'm really excited about this character, but if Kim Cattrall doesn't show up, then the character can't show up. And I don't know, that was a bummer.
One of the first things that I thought, first of all, one of the greatest texters in the game, the game of texting, is on this podcast, Cory Cavin. If you ever spar with Cory on text, just be ready for
you lose.
Just be ready to bring your A game. Sometimes you can't even go toe to toe. You just have to sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, he'll take off his leather glove.
An artist at work.
Throw down the gauntlet. He's quite the texter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it's because I can edit myself and I take out all the likes that I write. So I'm much better than that than in speaking.
Well, it just I was like, when she texted, I was like, of course Samantha would be such a solid, like, I'm glad your vagina's getting so much airtime. It's like,
oh yeah,
and then to not come in and say like to not do the I miss you part, but to be able to engage in like a fun, that's like her using her humor to be able to show that they may not be getting along, but she's not resentful or whatever. I don't know what their fight was.
What do you think? What do you think the text said that Samantha deleted?
To Samantha's character.
What was the text?
She said, I think, hey, I told the diaphragm story, which was really smart because it's a throwback to an earlier episode, which is very smart because that makes us happy as viewers.
No, I'm talking about what was the text that Samantha wrote that she then deleted.
Oh.
What is your thought? Did you think Samantha responded with "I miss you too," or do you think she was typing up a response about how bad Carrie hurt her, or do you think she was going to tell Carrie about an English guy that she fucked?
It was actually.
Did Samantha fuck Coach Beard on his wild night in Ted Lasso?
Maybe so. Maybe that was the crossover. Yeah. I was going to say that it was actually the person on the other end of the line coming clean, typing, "This is actually Richard. I killed Samantha and took her phone." And then he was just like, "No, I'm gonna keep it going for a little bit."
And it's just Richard wearing Samantha's face. Silence the Lambs.
Skin suit.
I think she said.
No, we solved it. We're ready to move on. Cory figured it out.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. That's the power. That's like not knowing what the alien looks like in the movie. The less you know about something, the more powerful it is, because it's like you said, you don't even, that's why it's such good writing too. You don't even need an actor to fulfill that thing. And it's so human now. Dude, when they started the bubble thing, I was like, this is fucking bullshit. That and Red Receipts, you could write an entire psychological book on how that is like a brand new, it's a brand new communication tactic that is like fucking crazy.
Wait, Kevin, you have Red Receipts turned on, right?
I don't think so. If I do,
You
I'm
do.
sorry to everyone.
You do.
You do.
You do.
You have
Really?
me on read. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm horrible at that because I look at things all the time and forget. So I'm going to turn them off right now.
Oh man, I wish you would keep it on because it kind of lets me know, like, okay, cool, you saw this, good, or I'm like, you haven't seen it yet. I don't have to make a decision.
It's so funny
about
that
this
you
yet.
didn't even know.
I thought it was
Are
just
mine
for
on?
me.
I don't think mine are on.
Yours are
I
not
don't know
on.
how you even turn them on.
Well, it's
I
weird.
want to turn the bubbles off.
Oh, you can't turn the bubbles off.
You can't?
No, the bubbles like a feature. It's
Sheesh.
definitely on there. But they did a great use of the bubble. They did a fantastic use of the bubble. And you're right. It's not Samantha because it's one of the other podcasts that was mentioned in Metro UK was the Sex and the City Writers Room podcast, and I've been listening to that, and they talk about the fact that Samantha's still in the show. She's still in the universe, even though Kim is not. And so they're like, we're writing that character. We're just writing it from afar.
It just makes me sad though, because if Kim never shows up,
Yeah.
like it's just going to be, I don't know. It's a bummer.
Yeah, I agree.
We
Yeah,
have more reviews. We have more reviews on Spotify than them. So,
How many are from you?
So, well, here are two positive things, I think. One is they're doing a good job. Like, let's put Kim Cattrall aside, and I won't derail the conversation by saying Kim will show up, because let's assume she won't, which is the information that we have right now. They're doing a good job making her a three-dimensional character when it's literally less of a character than was even on the show. You know what I mean? Like, a scene like this has a lot of power to it, and so did the flowers. The flowers at the funeral. Like, those are two really powerful, true to Samantha ways that she can be in the series. The other thing is, I want to leave Willie Garson to the side because I don't want it to turn into the real life thing, which is tragic and sad. But and because when I was watching, I was like, they couldn't do this because it wouldn't have made sense based on where the character was. But Anthony is a perfect step in for Samantha for a 4-person banter. They have the same energy in a chat and chew. No one's replaceable.
I don't know if I agree with same energy. Let me process that for a second.
I'm saying, if I get specific, I'm not talking about they have the same DNA, but I'm saying they're from the same. They're from the same world. It's not going to be the same, but I think it's as close as you can get in the Sex and the City world is having Anthony at the chat and chew. I thought that was a great chat and chew.
Yeah, I think Anthony's like. Maybe I'm the one who says like all the time. I think it might be me. I think she misunderstood who's talking, or they. I'm not sure if it's she. Anthony to me is more offensive. He's slightly more aggressive than Samantha, who I think is slightly more chill. Does that make sense?
Yes. Samantha, the one who violently attacks black trans people. It's been on television.
not during the chat and chew. She doesn't.
Wouldn't it? It would really take it to another level if she did it during the chat and chew. She just
gets
up and just throws coffee in their face.
If it wasn't just one episode, but it was like a theme throughout. It's like, this is like really fucked up. Like, she needs to drop it.
Absolutely.
She can only have so many makeup barbecues before it's actually really a problem.
No, I agree with you that Anthony is a little more like the crazy, funny, gay best friend that is like politically incorrect and can say whatever. But that's kind of what Samantha brings to the table in a chat and chew, to say the thing that the other three wouldn't say. Do you know what I mean? Like, it felt like a similar recipe.
Yeah. No. Okay. That's fair. I'll give you similar recipe.
Yeah. That's what I think you meant by similar energy. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Charlotte and Harry and Rose/Rock. Charlotte found out that Rose prefers the name Rock on a Zoom call when all the other class mothers were talking about the performance, and they said Rock rocked or Rock ruled. Charlotte did not know who Rock was, and she was called and told. I want to hear your thoughts on how that went down, and it's and then the conversation that they had with the parent and the principal afterwards. Harry says a great line. He says, "Hearing people who aren't you talking to you about your kid is the most humbling experience I've ever had."
I think. Do you have something else?
I was just gonna say, as parents of non-binary children, I'd love to hear the both of your thoughts.
Yeah, Kevin and I are perfectly teed up for this one. I think that this is a really interesting storyline, like through this season, and I think they're doing a good job handling it. That like Harry seems to be really struggling with it, and also saying things. He doesn't seem to have the answers, and doesn't even really seem to agree with what's going on at first, you know. or maybe not agree, but he's just like confused. And when he's like, "Is this your rapper name?" And like I think they're playing it very. I think they're playing it very real, at least to how some people would react. And I think that's good. I can as a parent of 4 non-binary children, I am highly qualified to speak on this. But I think that I would have a reaction, of saying, "Hold on, catch me up real quick. What's going on?" Like, and then the TikTok thing. It's like, well, I put up a TikTok. I think they played that pretty well in the sense that, like I also don't. The thing where she says, "Oh, you put up 10 TikToks a day." Yeah, you're going to get lost in that. You don't know. You're not monitoring everything your kid is doing, and also not realizing that what your kid is putting out there is a statement of who they are now, and that was a serious thing to them. Your kid has moved on. So I think it's been played pretty well especially for who Charlotte and Harry are. I also think Cynthia Nixon did amazing acting in this, but I think Evan Handler is doing some pretty good acting.
Yeah,
as like
totally.
A pained father,
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he said, we would let Rose, and then he gets corrected, Rock, eat. If we let her choose what they wanted to eat every single night, they would eat ice cream for every meal. And I think like that's a real probably struggle and question that someone like Evan Handler, someone like Harry would probably go through. And I feel like this storyline and the Che X, Y, and Me podcast are both trying to tackle the same thing, and I feel like that one is a lot more forced than this one.
Which one?
Like
the X, Y, and Me?
The podcast,
yes,
the Che.
Yes.
That storyline just feels like here's Carrie who doesn't know anything, and she's gonna like bumble and float around and like be confused, where this exploration of someone who's non-binary feels a lot more natural. And I'd be curious if the audience agrees with that, or if I have some sort of blinders on. I don't know.
Well, I think why it's better is like because it rings true that it's like this makes perfect sense that like I don't want to sidetrack into making fun of Che more, but it's like that podcast, that comedian, and that world doesn't exist, and we know that doesn't totally exist and isn't true. This is totally true. We know that there's like probably this is happening all the time, and also that we love Charlotte and Harry, and we know that they have true love for their children, and also as like a Episcopal Episcopal like kind of conservative lady who converted to Judaism, that they're probably not just gonna jump in to be like, oh yeah, we don't care, like, but they love their kids and are trying to be open. So I do think that this is like a really probably true example of what it might be like to go through that. And I thought it was like, I don't know, it's like a pretty intense thing to tackle, I would say, especially with like, I bet they show stuff like this on like This Is Us and certain things, but I think that this show allows you to be a little more irreverent in a show like This Is Us. I don't even know if they do that in This Is Us, but I know that like this had like an ABC Family vibe. Their whole storylines, the family almost feels like a ABC Family type show, and that's not a knock. That's just like the world that they're in is very, very wholesome at this point. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. I was impressed by it. I thought it was like
I've never seen a father figure on ABC Family have such a powerful stream as Harry does. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, and plays video games. Like he. You know, I thought you were
one
saying
of my favorite things
like
I hate.
He was streaming video games.
No, I'm talking about his piss stream.
I'm
talking about the strength of his piss stream. My least favorite thing in movies is when people play video games and they hold the controller like up near their chin. I don't know.
Yeah, most people hold it. Most people hold it like lower, right? Like just in your lap, right?
No one holds.
By the way,
up
there's
in their eyesight.
more urine. What is this? What is this? Season 3, episode 1? Is this Bill Kelly? There's more
Dude,
people
yeah.
pissing in this show.
A lot of
And
piss
just
talk.
like that,
This is Bill Kelly was one of the writers.
they are laying down some John Slattery comeback streams right now.
For real. Yeah.
Man, I wonder if do you guys think Diet Peach Snapple will have the same loss in their valuation that Peloton did?
Gosh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Has
they're
Diet
just
Peach
pissing at
Snapple?
it.
Has Diet Peach
CEO has to
Snapple
come out and be
released
like-
any sort of?
Hey, I'll say this. I'm looking at Keurig Dr. Pepper Inc., which owns Snapple. They're in the red right now.
Really?
They had a dip.
Really?
December 31st, they were definitely higher than they are now. I mean, we're talking pennies, but they're not up. I'll say that much.
Man, what do you think the fact was under the the cap?
The Snapple fact.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing that
Oh my
Samantha was
gosh.
texting.
What if you heard all that screaming and then the camera pans in there and it's not Miranda, it's just Chase fingering the Snapple lady. What was her name?
Dude.
Wendy? What was the Snapple lady's name?
The snap.
Wendy Kaufman. Wendy Kaufman, the Snapple lady. Just getting blasted by
Did
Che
did
Diaz.
Nantucket Nectar also have facts under their caps?
I think they did. Or
Nantucket
they had
nectar
sayings.
is what. That's what Che Diaz said after she finished with Miranda. She looked at her thing. She's like, some Nantucket nectar.
Oh, God. Oh, terrible.
Kevin. Oh. Well, let's dive in. Let's dive into how incredibly shitty was that of Miranda? That was a tough that was tough to watch.
Yeah, I'm interested to dive into this. I
even knew it was coming because the memes.
Mhm.
We watched this episode several days after it came out, and the memes were present, and it was still hard to get through.
Yeah.
Watching someone be that's why like the original series I think was so good at times, because it was like, and people are like, Carrie is a bad character, she's bad, and it's like, yeah, when you watched it on TV at the time, I'm sure people were screaming at their TVs that
Yeah.
she was, and this like Miranda had very strong season 1 and 2 Carrie Bradshaw vibes, and only watching SJP get to bring her acting chops and be like, man, this is the worst feeling when you've fucked up with your friends, hearing them just be like, what are you doing? Like that was fucking real.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you're in
When I pissed all over your
Atlantic
luggage.
City, when you're in Atlantic City with a group of friends, and you fall asleep to Fox News because you thought it'd be funny to have the two of you come in the room and see me watching Fox News at 3 a.m. And instead you piss on the wall and in my suitcase. And then I said, Kevin, you're peeing in my suitcase, and you drunkenly responded, I'll piss in your fucking ass. And then just went back to sleep in the bed that we shared.
Well, how Miranda felt when Carrie said that to her is how I felt when you texted. I said, was I at least apologetic? And you said, no. You said,
What you don't know is while you were sleeping, I jerked off Cory next to you. So
John lit up a huge joint in the room,
yeah.
and then
but
just went for it.
Corey was disappointed because he wanted you just to finger him.
Exactly.
He told me it was the greatest thing he's ever felt.
Yeah, it's I've never
You
felt
see these
anything
you see
like
these
that.
mitts right here?
Dude, I mean, this was such a good Sex in the City. Like, they're operating on all cylinders when, like,
Yeah.
multiple characters are struggling between, like, doing what you want and how it affects, and, like, what you really, really want, which is, like, clearly she wants love or connection. She hates her life. She's not in love with Che.
Mm-hmm.
And she sacrificed not her friendship with Carrie, but her friendship in that moment, her being a good friend in that moment to go after what she wanted. And that was just like so true. Like I was like, damn, that is.
So you don't
should
think
have-
Miranda wants Che? Miranda
I
just
think she
wants
does, but
not,
I don't think
not status quo.
Yes.
Okay.
She wants something exciting. And she wants something to wake her up and someone will come into your life, like whether it's fucking. I mean, this is the most classic cheat thing ever. Is like you're drinking, you're eating like boring food, and you don't have sex with your husband, and all of these things, and then the fun of something like lures you in, and then the reality sets in that somebody who's not in your brain can be like, I don't know. That's why you got to be on top of things. Like when people cheat, it's not just because they're like horny for 5 minutes. It's like there's so many things that go along to that. That's the other thing we called that Miranda will cheat.
Yeah. I mean, it was when Che was coming up to the apartment, Miranda went in the bathroom and fixed her hair.
Yeah.
So Miranda clearly has a crush.
Miranda was flustered when Che was coming up to the hotel or the hospital room as well.
Right.
And she intercepted Che, and they went and had drinks or a meal down in the cafeteria.
I thought the cafeteria talk with Che was really good. Like that was a moment.
Remind me what it was.
What's that?
Remind me what happened.
It was Che talking about her finding out that Che had diverticulitis.
Oh, yeah.
And Che's dad, mistaking that and waking up saying like, we already know she likes women, or we already what? Yeah, I guess at that point is we already know she likes women, but now would be we already know they like women, and Che talking about being Cheryl and then moving to become Che and saying I had to leave behind. I had to be much more open. Not only about my stomach health, but basically being who I was. And that was, I feel like, the deepest look inside that character. And it felt pretty honest. There was, Che said one or two things, I think, about like, kind of like, did the like brashly stand up kind of thing of like, I all the time got to make people laugh or whatever. But for the most part,
they did that a bunch. They did that in Carrie's apartment too.
Yeah. Yes, because it's talking about like, hey, New Jersey ain't going to make itself laugh. Che's going to have to show up and yank some crankers or whatever Che says. But I do think that the hospital talk was really great. Like I agree. I was like, oh, this is a more full character, and we're seeing more inside. And then when you see Che sort of turn. Like when Che left and said to Miranda, if you ever want to do this again, DM me. It does kind of it puts them into this way where they're like, hey, if you just want to get off, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm down for this if you are.
Yeah. I thought the same thing with the DM thing too, that it was like there was some way that they put it out there that it's like to her, Miranda is excited about like this person potentially, even if it's coming from a place of like, I don't think it's good that she's doing it, but it is like more of a, like I could imagine Miranda texting her and then not getting text back and being fucked up like this next episode and being like that to Che. It's just like, oh yeah.
It was just, I don't know. It was basically showing that Miranda hit rock bottom because the next scene, she realizes that she sent herself the book on quitting drinking when she was drunk, not Charlotte, and she dumps out 3 huge bottles of alcohol in her sink.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's interesting that she's in a really conflicted spot right now where she wants this. She was into it. She is miserable and used this as like a salve to get by, but she also realizes that she's probably an alcoholic or struggling with alcohol. And I really loved how she said, we all just were drinking a ton in quarantine, and I just kind of kept going. I think that probably resonates with a lot of people with any sort of poor habit that was formed during quarantine. And I don't know. This storyline really hooked me into wanting to know what's going to happen next, which is something that the original Sex and the City never did. Every episode was just very episodic. And I was never really anticipating what's going to happen in the story. Maybe a little bit with like the Aiden Big thing, but this, I'm like, what is actually going to happen with Miranda and
I think
Steve, Che.
I think with all the
Rock.
storylines, there's that it's like we've talked about it, and like this series is addressing it, and in lots of ways that it's like, how are they going to bring back? I don't know. Some of the first reviews were like woke in the city, and
Yeah.
you know, that's not just.
But you also knew that was coming. Like
yeah, we knew it was coming.
everyone knew, right?
Totally. And but the interesting thing that there's that for the sake of doing it, right? To just like check the box, Che Diaz style. To just say like, look, we had this storyline. And now we got past that initial like thing that everybody was waiting to see how they did. And now we're in like not like what story are you going to tell using this stuff? And I think it's really interesting to say like it was easy to make fun of Che Diaz when they first came on the scene, but now it's like,
Can I interrupt real quick and ask you a
What?
question?
yeah.
How hard would Samantha drop the Che checked your box reference to Miranda? Sorry, keep going.
Nice.
Yes. Che checked
Nice.
your box.
Sounds like Che checked your box, honey.
It sounds like. Yeah, I mean, that's where I was so impressed with this episode. It was like, it was really good, and same with Charlotte and Harry. That you know, I could imagine them going further in. I could imagine it being a phase. I'm sure it is for some kids. I'm sure some, you know, like it could be anything. One thing when certain people change their name, if I was transgender, I wouldn't just be so married to the first letter of my name. I feel like Bruce Jenner, who's the most famous transgender, was just like, yeah, you can be any fucking letter. But if I was Cheryl and I was like, I have to be Che, and then it's like I'm Rose,
really
it's like
true.
I can't get rid of the R and the O. I can get rid of my
know.
entire gender, but God, if I lose that first letter, who even am I?
Well, it's funny because you hear about
Kevin,
the
that's
other.
a good bit. That's a good bit.
It's a great bit.
Yeah.
I mean, because you look at the other kid in their class, and they're like, "Is this just because your friend?" I forgot the friend's first name, but it was like changed their name to Eli, and they were like, "Their name is Scout now." It's like they're further down the spectrum than Rock is at right now.
I also love Lily. I love the Lily
Yeah.
character who's kind of just in the background and is super supportive of Rock. Like when they were watching the video, the TikTok, and like Lily started like doing the dance. I thought that was pretty cute.
Also, you know, that was very kind of Lily because Rock is making this song, and meanwhile Lily's a freaking piano prodigy. It's just like, cute song, Rock, way to go.
Yeah.
You know? Exactly.
My sister's
Very
name is
supportive
Rock.
sister.
Dude, what if they start collabing and Rock
that'd be amazing.
like
That'd be sick.
raps?
It's gonna be like a
over
Billie
top of
Eilish
old-
situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait. Is Lily the original actress from the movies, and is Brady the original actor, or are
Brady
these
is
brand new people?
Brady is not the original actor.
Okay.
Let me look up Lily. I'm not sure.
There's
about
no
Lily.
way. There's no way.
I
Well,
know.
that's what I wondered, and then I didn't. I kept on meaning to
Also,
look it up,
'cause-
and I didn't.
Because Lily, after the first movie, when did the first movie? When did Lily be like 15? I guess maybe.
I mean,
So-
maybe,
I don't know.
most
They
likely
probably
not.
did the
Brady
math.
was my first thought.
Niall
And then I was
Cunningham
like-
Niall Cunningham is Brady, and he's in some other show. He was in Okja. He's in like
Oh, cool.
he was in a show called Life in Pieces. He's been in like a bunch of things. He's like a teenage actor kid. But let's see. Kathy Eng is Lily, and was not in Sex and the City. So yeah, she's not the original actress, which makes sense.
Well, I
you know?
I would say, as far as the Miranda, like we've joked about it, but I would say if anyone's watching, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. But I would also say, cheers to the writers. So I'm not closing out. We can still talk. I was just thinking, cheers to I think this episode represents like a way to tackle very current things and have it be done really well. Like I thought it would be hard to. It was easy to make fun of certain things, and like when you find the right storyline and it's written from a place of truth, I just feel like this is what the show should exist for, to try and tackle this in like real, honest ways. And I was so impressed. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I have a question. I think we've covered most of the things, but what do you think is going to happen with Seema and Carrie? Like, we know, I think this focused more on Carrie and Miranda. Like, we started out with Seema, taking her to Seema's cousin that was a doctor.
Yep.
Yeah, but then Seema's kind of out of the picture once the surgery happens. Do you think it's? I think it's Seema's going to get Carrie back into dating. I think that's what's going to happen. Oh, well, actually, did you watch the preview for the next episode?
Well, the last scene is Carrie getting physical therapy, and she gets Travis, the sexy, young, hunky physical therapist, and then Emmett, who Jack Black.
He's Jack Black. Emmett's got to be on a Herald team at some. He looks. I bet Emmett's like exactly. I bet Emmett is like the funniest comedy actor that they have. Like, that's like a young comedy actor that's from some place in Chicago or something. But he's just playing the goofball. But I wonder if we'll see him again.
And so
do you think it would play? I'm not saying could you or couldn't you, but do you think if it was like, if it was Steve going in and there was like a pretty massage artist, and then some lady came up and was like, "I'll take your appointment." I don't know if that would play. I was offended on behalf of Emmett.
That was like every single joke from like from when movies came out till
I don't like it. I don't like it for any gender. I don't like what they fucking did to Emmett. He's a human being and he has a good heart. Just because he's not Australian.
Is this your new set at Bowery?
What?
Is this your new set? You working on some material?
Pissed.
Check
I'm
the box.
pissed that they're just going to throw Emmett under the bus like that when he went to fucking massage school. You know, he graduated at the top of his class, higher than Travis. Travis was fucking drunk, hooking up with the other students.
I hope what happens is Travis just gives Carrie tendonitis in her hip. But they fall in love.
Dude, what if
but he's a terrible masseuse.
I was confused why one of the masseuses would be covered by insurance and the other wouldn't. Like, isn't the insurance billing done by the business, not the individual?
It's because
hopefully that's
Travis is a capitalist pig, and Emmett takes freelancers.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, Emmett is a fucking stand-up guy.
Yeah.
You want to start a GoFundMe? It's for Emmett.
Wait, what was the first GoFundMe I was going to start?
Finger banging lessons for Steve.
Finger banging lessons for Steve. Yeah.
Way better GoFundMe. You got to start it and get a picture up for the Instagram.
Okay, yeah. I'll do it.
How much should we ask for? That's the question.
$100.
How much of this
and we'll teach
go
him
for?
That's our rate.
Gosh.
Let's look up fingering lessons. I'm gonna put an incognito on.
Why, you live by yourself?
Fingering lessons. Well, they're free on Pornhub.
I just sent out a tweet that said, "Can anyone give me these? I'll pay you money." So
okay, so I'm on the website right now that is called the School of Squirt.
Oh my gosh.
Is it a picture of Che and their laser lines?
How to finger a girl.
3 laser lines.
Oh my gosh. Until she explodes with pleasure. Dude, this is... Oh man, dude, I got to read this. The School of Squirt, dude. We're sending Steve to this.
What if the next episode, while they're recording X, Y, and Me, you see Che's just rocking a little School of Squirt patch on their vest or something
have
like
lessons on here. Okay, I'm gonna find out how much they are, and we'll make a whole little video of it.
What if we can get David Eigenberg to be in the video?
Can you imagine what you have to put up with being an actor? What, like, if we were famous enough to get to all these people directly, like just the bullshit we put these actors that just had a few days on set, like doing a thing they were paid to do, and we're just like, we got you a lesson of how to finger a girl, and he's like, what are you talking about?
Hey, you guys know that I'm on Chicago Fire, right? And you know that like a bunch of my friends are actual fire. I'm married. What are you doing?
He should be really familiar with the School of Squirt. Then that's also a
I'm running to
firefighter school.
represent the Screen Actors Guild for the Midwest region. I'm not really Steve. And we're like, yeah, but if you could finger Miranda better.
Would you be willing to do a Steve talk where Steve talks to Steve about fingering Miranda? No. How'd you get this number?
How much do you guys pay? Other
Nothing.
people? No. We haven't even been. No
listen.
one gets paid.
No, we've lost money.
How many Angry Birds ads have you listened to?
Exactly. Can you?
That is funny.
Quickly master Laura's secret pump and release technique.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh!
Let's-
Wait, who's
let's get
Laura?
this
Does
episode
Laura
rated.
run the School of Squirt? Is she the dean? Is she like the head of Hogwarts at the School of Squirt?
Yeah, Jacob and Laura.
Oh, it's like the couple from. It's probably like the tantric couple. It's like a husband wife team that does this whole thing. Did I miss that? Have we already talked about that?
I can't wait till we get a text from Kevin 3 hours from now. Being like, it's actually really interesting, guys.
Dude, there's a whole chapter. You know the Tim Ferriss book, The 4-Hour Body?
Yeah.
There's like a whole like 5-page section where he talked about going to some place where they like talked about vaginal massage for women. And
School of Squirt.
I think he went to the School of Squirt, something like that.
Oh, man, you guys remember Squirt, the soda? Stuff was pretty good.
Squirt was delicious.
Yeah.
They still sell it,
It
it's they have bottled Squirt at like all the taco stands in Mexico City. It's delicious.
You know
Love
what
Squirt.
Squirt and Nantucket Nectar were interchangeable in my middle school.
Those were both things.
All
You
right,
know
let's get
Miranda
this
seems like
episode
somebody
rated.
who has a second house in Nantucket too, so it kind of
Yeah,
works.
for sure.
Totally. All right, taters. Piss in a Snapple bottle. Mail it to us. We'll drink it live on air.
We'll dump it on Kevin's bed while I'm jerking Cory off in the next room.
If you got our Patreon to 1,000 a month, we'll do all this.
We'll start an OnlyFans.
Listen, if we get $1,000 more on Patreon by the time we do another episode, we'll have one of us take OxyContin and piss the bed, and then we'll have the other two hook up and smoke a joint in the kitchen. We'll do anything. This is the gig economy this is where we are now. Travis is out there seeing whoever he wants. This is where the healthcare system is. The world's a mess now.
Yeah, it's Greed's fault.
We screamed at our last episode. Go back. There was a Zoom call on this, and there was one other thing, and also the last episode we screamed. We said someone needs to come in this fucking show, and we screamed it into existence. And just like that, knew that there needed an orgasm. We brought the School of Squirt to the entire series last week on our podcast.
Mm-hmm. We did it. We did it. We gotta rate the episode.
I got mine.
I got mine. 4.5 Cosmos.
4.5. Same here.
I love
4.5.
I love
Same
this,
here.
I love this episode. It was so fun.
I think this was
So
the best
fun.
episode of the series so far.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It was great.
It was great.
I want to watch it again. So
Yeah,
many good
best
acting
episode of the
moments. So many
series so
hooks.
far.
So many hooks that have been set. I'm really interested in what happens in the story. I'm in.
Hey,
Plus, I want to get some bread delivered by Hot Guy Bread.
that's a real
Yeah.
place, I think.
Really?
They said something about it on that podcast. Maybe it's they said something about it on that.
Something.
Maybe it's based on like a real thing, but I think
Boys
it's like
with
a real
Bread.
thing.
There's an Instagram account called Boys with
Boys
Bread.
with bread. Heck yeah.
Listen,
hey, we've got.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that has listened, and we want to do like a call-in show. We haven't really scheduled it. We're back in the new year, and we're in more normal lives, but I feel like we'd be remiss to not hear back from people. So, Cory, let me know when you put this up, and we'll try and do a call-in episode. I'll post everything on Instagram, and you guys can call in
That'd be awesome.
Give your thoughts and answer your questions, and we can make this a dialogue rather than a monologue.
I would love that. Yeah, all of us. We would love that. I just checked our our voicemail account, and we have a spam text that is like, "Hey, sweetie, click this link." But yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna put it up on the Instagram. But the phone number is 917-410-1428. So call us, babes. And hey, also we have merch. It's shop.thebradshawboys.com. We got cream cheese poppy mugs up there.
That's right.
Those mugs are selling like hotcakes. If you want us to make a fruit drink that's like a Snapple bottle, I think we should make something. We should make some sort of merch with Che Diaz on the front, just saying "DM me." Well, we'll make whatever you want, but there's current merch up there, including cream cheese poppy mugs and Bradshaw Boys hats and lots of stuff. Check it out.
Absolutely.
We have the cream cheese poppy mug has been our biggest seller. It's a picture of Harry Goldenblatt with a chain that is a bagel with cream cheese and lox, and it says cream cheese poppy on it because we made that joke years ago on on this podcast. So we're trying to do merch that is so inside jokey that it alienates people that don't like the fact that we talk about fingering websites for 20 minutes instead of talking about anything.
The meat and potatoes of the
yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, for joining us. Love you. Later, taters.
Later, taters. Later, taters.
The Bradshaw Boys stars Cory Cavin, Jon Sieber, and Kevin James Doyle. The show is produced by Jeremy L. Balon. For more information on the guys, check out their website at bradshawboys.com, on social media at The Bradshaw Boys. And if you see them in the street, tip your glass. Thanks for listening.